Hi, Paul Bedford here from Retention Guru, and in this session I want to focus on the 5 challenges businesses face when developing and designing their new member onboarding process. Now, the first element that I think creates a big problem is that often our departments are siloed. We have a marketing department, we have a sales department, we have a fitness department, and each of those requires information. Now, often when someone joins, they give an awful lot of information to the sales team. The sales team are trying to elicit information in order to help make the sale, so they can repeat back what the new member is looking for in a way that makes your club enticing or inciting a place to join. The fitness team will often then go through the same questions if they're doing the onboarding process, particularly for the gym floor. This doesn't tend to happen for Group X. Often for Group X, people are just abandoned after the sales process with perhaps just a cursory recommendation to either look at the website or look at a timetable and choose a class. But on the gym floor, there's often a consultation. This is often something that takes up to about an hour, and in some cases is multiple times. But there's no overlap, so you're being asked the same question again and again and again. Because we work in silos, we have to start thinking about the onboarding process as one process that different people have responsibility for, but where we can share information. So it's more frictionless, it feels more personal, and it doesn't feel like someone's being processed. Same questions, same things, again and again and again. Now, the second element is that I think within most businesses, no one owns the whole process. Each department is responsible for their own little bit. At a conference that I spoke at recently, the CEO Summit in the US, when I said who's responsible for retention, almost everybody in the room went, well, everybody is. So I then said, well, who's got retention in their job description? And almost nobody has. And so I said, no one owns that process. Now, you have to be mindful here. If you have a retention manager or a customer experience manager, they are responsible for checking that the process is delivered. They're not wholly responsible for all of the things that happen to a person. So they might be the manager of the process, but they are not the deliverers necessarily of the process. But you need someone who looks at the whole thing and looks to see where things are joined up and where there are gaps. Now, all of your opportunities to improve what you're doing are usually in the gaps, where people fall through the gaps, where someone makes a sale but doesn't realize the value of putting someone through an onboarding process. You know, they've made their sale, their job's over. Now it's someone else's turn to take over. You have to have someone who can look at the big picture and then get the different teams to collectively deliver that service to the new member. There's also often a misalignment between when members think the onboarding is complete and when the staff think it's complete. The sales staff think the sale is over once the person has signed and received their membership card. Often, the person themselves doesn't think that it's over until they've completed their onboarding or even further in. And in fact, if you look at it from a perspective, a big picture, they're not going to see value from their membership until they've achieved something. Owning a card is one thing, but actually getting results from being a member is something different. So when you think the sale is over, the onboarding is over, may not be when the member thinks the onboarding is over. And you perhaps need to do some surveys or some interviews with members, particularly new to exercise members, to recognise from them when they feel like they've been onboarded. Another thing a lot of businesses don't even recognise is there's no success metric for onboarding. Sometimes there's a quantifiable metric. We sold 100 memberships, we signed up 80 people to do the onboarding process, 60 people turned up. So you've got a funnel that says how many did each thing, but actually you don't have a metric that says when were they successful. Now, what you might want to do is set that simply as visit frequency. Have they made somewhere between 4 and 12 visits in the first month? Your target might be to drive 8 visits in month 1. 8 visits in month 2. Have they completed 24 visits within the first 3 months of membership or the first 90 days of membership? You need a quantifiable metric that tells you they've done something that's actually going to be of benefit to you. And while I keep banging on about it, visits is probably the one you want to do there. So it's not body fat percentage, it's not how much they enjoyed a particular class. It is going to be, are they visiting frequently enough to get value from their membership? And then finally, the evaluation of whether that onboarding process is working. Again, when I'm working with operators, they'll often take what they're currently doing, abandon that, put something new in, and won't measure the effect of that. And you've got to be able to measure the effect, because you want to be able to see what's working and what isn't working. Does having a 3D body scan improve the length of time that people stay? Does not having a 3D body scan have an impact? Does completing the consultation in an office have any different impact as completing the consultation while standing next to equipment? You want to measure the different elements, even if it is most simplistic part. Just watch to see how many more people complete the onboarding process against your success metric. That's it for this session. I'll see you again soon.